Okay, for today's vocabulary, today we're talking about the rise in gas prices. Ooh, so fun. Let's go to page 2. Number 1, to skyrocket. So usually when you're looking at numbers, figures, prices, any kind of measurement or a chart or graph, and the numbers rise very quickly, very high, we say it's skyrocketed. You can even say it like past tense, it's skyrocketed. Now, I should mention that there is no noun version of skyrocket. You know, there's no such thing as a skyrocket. You can say there's a rocket, but there's no skyrocket as a noun. So you can only use this specifically for this situation, especially in like business or economics. Number 2, to shell out. I think this is actually a little bit incomplete. Normally you say you shell out some cash or you shell out some money. So to shell out a lot of money is to say that you paid kind of a high price. You paid a lot of money for something. This usually happens on vacations, holidays, or birthdays, events, going out. You shell out a lot of money. If you took a trip to kind of maybe somewhere that's a little bit expensive to visit, maybe like London. London gets kind of pricey. So you go to London, you want to go shopping at, what's the big store, Harrods?
Harrods.
Yeah, Harrods. So you want to go shopping there. Well, what happens is you shell out a lot of money. You can say, I shelled out a lot of cash for this, or I shelled out a lot of money. Sometimes we say we shelled out a lot of dollars, even. So basically, even if you want to maybe brag about it, oh, it was my mom's birthday last week, so we took her to the nicest restaurant in town and shelled out a lot of cash for her, meaning that we spent a lot of money for her on purpose. You can use it to brag. You can also use it to complain. I was at Lotte World, and I forgot to bring something, and so I had to buy it there. Oh, wow, I shelled out a lot of cash for it. Like, I paid too much. No offense to Lotte brand. Next, number 3, breakdown. So this is whenever you're trying to kind of give a methodical, logical, detailed, step-by-step explanation of something. You're breaking it down. You can say, let me give you a breakdown of the situation. Like, let me tell you about what's happening step by step or in order. Or, if you show somebody like some, do you guys have like P&L sheets, like profit and loss or anything like that? So if you're showing people numbers, and it's just you have a lot of different areas to look at or KPI or something like that to measure, and maybe it's the person's first time to see that kind of information, then you might say, okay, let me break it down for you, or I'm going to give you a breakdown of what you're looking at. Like, that way you know or understand. Number 4, crater. So this is not the verb. This is not the noun. So when there's a crater, usually it's something fell out of the sky very fast. There was a high impact on the ground, boom, and then there's a big hole in the ground, right? When something craters as a verb, that means something was going down. Now, we don't really say it like, if you went skydiving, you don't crater out of the sky. That's not a normal way to say it, because you're not going to hit the ground and die. I hope not. The way it works usually is you use it kind of metaphorically, as like a metaphor or as a kind of expression in a way, or idiom. If you were talking about numbers again, profits cratered last quarter. Or if you were talking about someone's popularity, this person said something crazy on Twitter and their popularity cratered. That means they went down. And usually it goes down quite fast, like really bad. Number 5, reimpose. So let's break it down, because you have re, which is like to do something again, and then impose. When you impose something, that means you kind of force something, try to control something, set some rules, anything like that. You can impose laws, you can impose taxes, you can impose tariffs, you can impose sanctions. So to reimpose is to, if those laws or rules, sanctions or taxes or tariffs were removed before and then brought back and they did it again, they're reimposed. If you work in an office and they tried to give everybody flexible working time, but then people became very lazy and abusive, they might reimpose rules about your working hours. Number 6, a fraction. So a fraction obviously is a small part of something. What you're looking at is just a fraction of the whole thing. Number 7, pipeline. So pipeline, the noun, is basically when you have several pipes that it's like an infrastructure system to carry out resources or material. The best example I can give is like in Houston, or in the Houston area where I'm from, there's a lot of production facilities for oil and gas and petroleum, and they have to transport that to other places. And actually we have pipelines that go out from Houston out through Texas and out through other states, and it just helps people to transport that material out very quickly and very efficiently. So I hope efficiently. That's a pipeline system. We can also use the word pipeline as a verb. It's very useful that way. And that's basically if you're trying to send information or a resource down to another part of something that you work with. For example, if you say that you sent some information down the pipeline at work, that means you sent some information to different departments by email, maybe. It's like you pipelined it. Sometimes, you might say, okay, we're going to pipeline some money through, or from whatever, this department to this department, meaning like you're going to send some resources throughout the company. So in some ways you can use it as like a verb or as an expression, meaning that you're providing some or sharing some resource to another department. And last, number 8, in a nutshell, it's just basically in summary, or basically it's like this, in a nutshell. And those are vocabulary.